Live from Latrobe Motorsports Studios, this is Ride Along with Howie, from the fast half-mile track at Latrobe Speedway, where it's grassroots racing at its finest. Here's Howie.
Race fans, do you know what time it is? It's time for Ride Along with Howie, sponsored by Joe's Body Shop and Towing and SMB Promotions. First up for a ride tonight is going to be our 2022 Fall Fest champion for the Pure Stocks, Mr. Corey Ferris. Corey, welcome back to Ride Along.
Thanks for having me, Howie.
Hey, Corey, you guys, it was an interesting race, but you took advantage of having a fast car. You got out to the lead, and you're able to go on and score financially the biggest win of your career.
Yes, that is right. Like you said, wasn't necessarily the prettiest one, but, we got it done regardless. So happy with that. Can't really complain too much about that.
What was your thought going into the Fall Fest? Knowing you had a good car, and in the heat race, I don't want to say the guy that everybody predicted, but what we're going to call him one of the favorites. Anthony Montapart lost his clutch and was done for the night. What did that do for you and your team? Did it take off some pressure or put more pressure on because it kind of put you now as the favorite instead of one of the favorites?
I remember waiting in line, and I was just, sitting to go out for my heat race, and I think a couple guys have blown up some motors, so there were a good bit of cautions in the heat race too. And, next thing I heard, they said the 66 is getting pushed off. I was like, oh, that's no good. And then when I came back in after the heat race, I heard that he had lost a clutch or a transmission or, however it worked out. And definitely Anthony's a good driver. They got a really good car. So it's always nice to know you'll have, really good competition to battle with. But he's definitely someone that I look forward to racing and, trying my best to get around him. I know he does the same for me. So when I heard he wasn't racing, I don't want to say I was, bummed out, but it's nice racing against, good guys, good competition. We've been racing tight pretty much all year. So this was kind of like my last chance to, give a good hurrah racing against him for this season. So when I heard that, definitely a little bit more pressure because I'm thinking, that definitely helps having one of, these guys that have won it in the past, not be there, maybe not starting in front of me, someone I'd have to get around. But regardless, there are a lot of fast cars. There's, a lot of people in our division that do really well. A couple out of towners came and they had some fast cars too. I think the top three in front of me, I can't remember exactly the way we started, but I know at least two of them were in front of me to start the feature. So
Blystone and Hickok.
Blystone and Hickok were in front of me. So I knew they're good drivers. They've both raced at Latrobe before. So it seemed like, that they knew, the track well enough that they could get around fast. So I was just hoping for the best on the initial start. And tried to get towards the front, and then I ended up in second place, trying to make some moves. And there were a couple cautions. I thought I was, gaining some ground on Hickok. And then I think it might've been the third caution on that restart. I was able to get a good run coming off of 2. He kind of stayed in the middle of the track entering 3. So I moved up to the top. And what I had noticed, what was happening when he was entering, in the middle, was that he was going to slide up the track a little bit, leave just enough of a lane down at the bottom that I might be able to squeeze in there. And that's exactly what happened. I had a little practice because there was a caution previous where I tried to do the same thing, but he washed up just enough for me to get underneath him. And after that, I knew we had a fast car, so I felt comfortable out front there. So hoping that, we could have made it the full race there, but regardless, I think we had a fast enough car to compete with anybody that was gonna, show their nose or get door to door with me. So
now your night didn't start off, we'll say on the right foot, because I think it was hot laps. You ended up getting towed off the track.
Yeah. So not to mention I was driving Chris's other car too, so I was a little flustered to begin with. I had a lot going on. Luckily, I had enough crew there to help me out and keep me moving. Um, but so I hop out of Chris's car, hop in my car, get out there for hot laps, try to run a good couple laps just to make sure the car is good. And I'm coming out of 4. Next thing you know, the front end's dragging on the ground. I didn't know what happened. I'm looking, I see that after they took the hood off, my right front was all the way up against the fender. So we broke a lower ball joint. So I kind of at that point thought, well, the night in the pure stocks is over. We didn't have a spare arm, a spare ball joint. We didn't come prepared enough for that. Probably should have, but next time we will be. But regardless, I started asking. I asked EJ if he had a spare part. He said no. And John Kane's walking up, and I looked at him. I said, "Hey, do you have a lower control arm with the ball joint already in it?" And he said, "Yeah, I do. Hold on." So we really lucked out there. Big thanks to him for helping us out because without that, we wouldn't have made the heat race, wouldn't have made the feature. We probably would have just loaded it up and just focused on the pro stock for the night.
And once you got into the feature, as a driver, I know a lot, you're focusing and you got your momentum going and you're always out there and you're going 100 miles per hour, but you're thinking, what's going to go? Then that caution comes out. And as a driver, what's going through your head? It's like every time it seemed like you could get that momentum, the flow going, there was a caution.
Yeah, you're right. It is tough to get in a rhythm once you have a caution. It comes out, and I remember the original start. Joey Catellis jumped out to the front and it looked like he was going to be gone. Like he got such a lead on the rest of the cars, he ran to the bottom and kind of took off. And I'm thinking like, man, I was battling for 5th place at that point, and I was started 4th, so I didn't get too great of a start, but caution came out. So I regrouped and I was thinking, okay, what can I do better here to try to get a better initial start to, move forward. And, a couple laps go by, caution, couple laps go by, caution. I'm in 2nd place. I'm, thinking, how am I going to maneuver these turns and try to get around to get to 1st. And just, I think we only had maybe twice where we had like a 3 or 4 lap run where you could get in a groove and run good. But even being out front, getting the run off, thinking these guys are right behind me, I'm trying to run away as fast as I can to take home the lead. But then the caution comes out. I know they're right on me again, so you're kind of antsy in the car, thinking like, I don't know. At least when it's green flag laps, you think there's a chance that I could be gaining ground on these guys. But when it's caution after caution, they're right there. So you expect them to be, diving, taking shots, trying to get you every turn. So they're right there. And I was, waiting for guys to show their nose after those cautions came out. And it does rattle you a little bit in there, but generally you just got to keep your cool and just focus on making consistent laps that are fast so that you don't have to really get flustered and make a mistake. That's the key.
And you were able to get out to the lead, and then your Joe's Body Shop and towing teammate EJ Rozak got up in the 2nd. And he's out there in a brand new car. This is the 2nd year on your car. You already broke it in hot laps. What's going through your mind at this point? I mean, your dad and Steve Mitchell and the crew gave you the best piece they could, and you're already out there on somebody else's borrowed parts, so you don't want to destroy that. And I mean, what's going through your mind at this point?
Yeah. So it's funny because I can't remember where EJ started, but I knew he didn't pick. I don't think he picked the greatest pill to the starting position. I want to say he was
behind you.
I think he might have picked the number 7. So he was what would that be? 6, maybe 6 or 7. So regardless, I knew he was back there, and I was expecting him to make his way up. I know he was fast in the heat race. That new car is fast. So, and I think he's been tinkering with it, getting it right, getting it where it needs to be. And on one of the restarts, I'm just, setting pace for the caution laps. And next thing I know, I hear someone revving their motor next to me. I look over and it's EJ, and he's giving me the thumbs up. So, that made me feel good that, he was letting me know he was there, but also supporting me. Like, you're doing good. Everything's, you're running good. So it felt good seeing that from him. He's been racing a very long time. So it's definitely awesome knowing that he's supportive of me, even though he's trying to compete and win this race too. But he's definitely a fast driver, fast car. So when you see him there, I expect him to be, getting close to me, showing his nose, running me hard. So it is a little nerve wracking knowing when these guys are right behind you, who it is and everything like that.
And let's not forget the generosity of Mr. Chris Sears. $2,600 to the purse. The $200, I believe it was $200 also for hard charger. And you know what? I want to commend you guys, you and your team. You saw Chris at the fence, and Chris has some physical limitations. And your dad and the Schneiders, and Denny Carson of Latrobe, make sure Chris got down there to celebrate with you. How big was that to, the biggest financial win of your career? Probably the biggest win. I mean, you did pick up the Pure Stock Special sponsored by your sponsor, Joe's Body Shop and Towing.
Mm-hmm.
But, the Joe Body Shop and Towing cars finished first and second. And here's this fan who just donated an obscene amount of money to for the race. And, you got to meet him in victory lane.
Absolutely. It was awesome. Like, once again, thank you to Chris Sears. I was talking to you yesterday and I said, I mean, realistically, he could have put that money up for any division. He could have put it up for the supers, for the big blocks. But he chose to put it up for the pure stocks. And I know me and all the other drivers really appreciate that. It's really awesome. Cost of racing is just continuously going up. That's just kind of the nature of the sport. So for him to do that and just, put up that kind of money too, it's not like it was $100 or so. We really appreciate anything like that, but that amount of money is really a big deal for these guys, and especially for our Fall Fest. It made the race, it made people want to come. We allowed in, I know in the rules we were accepting a couple other tracks rules too, so it allows for a bigger show, more competition. It really puts on a good show for the fans too. So Chris, he really, that means a lot to us drivers, getting the car ready for next year and just having that little bit extra to, maybe get a new tire for next year or get, some more stickers or anything like that. I mean, anything involved in racing, it means a lot to have that extra purse involved in there. When we saw him coming down for victory lane, I was really happy that he got to come down and, congratulate me personally. I wanted to thank him personally, to have a picture with him and everything too. That's just really awesome. So anything he needed or needs, we're here to help.
And the Pure Stocks are lucky. Besides what Chris did, Dean Pollock had his Dean nights, and it's good for you guys because you get that extra money. Real fast, what was it like getting to drive for Chris Schneider in the Pro Stock?
I will say it was an adjustment, to say the least. Definitely different. Super fun. Really awesome. I think if I had a little bit more practice, I would have been able to perform a little better, but still not upset with the way I did. First time being in one of those cars with other cars on the track. It definitely was awesome. I didn't think that I'd really get to do that until I'd maybe drive my dad's car one day, once we get that thing together. But, thanks to him a whole lot. Chris Snyder, he does a lot for, racing in general, but he, really want to thank him for the opportunity to let me drive his car. They're quick. He builds great race cars. So I know they're safe. They're fast. They win a ton of races. Not to mention he does great in them. He's a fantastic driver. So just really cool that, he let me take it out there and trusted me with his equipment. We brought it home in one piece. I finished 6th, so I can't really complain about that either. Just overall, it was a good night. It was fun, busy, but like I said, it was very enjoyable for me and my crew.
And you know what? Chris was impressed by when you pulled out to congratulate him. He goes, "Oh my God, he didn't even put a scratch on it."
Well, I was, good to think that, he at least noticed that I didn't really hurt the car at all too. Um, I didn't even realize when I was racing, I knew on that last caution that he was in second place behind Connor. And I know Connor's fast. He's a really good driver too. And he had won at Latrobe before. And so I didn't know how that was going to go. And then, racing in sixth, I couldn't really pay attention to what Chris was doing. So when the checkered flew, I just came off the track, and then I get back to my pit, and the first person I saw, I said, "Who won? Who won?" And they said, "Chris won." I said, "I got to get back out there. I want to be in the winner's circle with him." I probably should have just drove around the track one more time to see who won, but just adrenaline pumping, not thinking. But congratulations to him for winning the Pro Stocks too.
Hey, real fast, what's the plan for next? Are you done for the year now?
So I think we might be done. There's a chance we may go up to Roaring Knob. Not sure what their plans are as of right now. So I know there's a big race towards the end of the season. I think it's in the end of October that I might attend, may go there. But otherwise, just kind of tear the car down, make sure everything's, clean, good, strong. I think we're going to get my dad's car together, the Pro Stock, and he's going to run that. Maybe if I'm lucky enough, he'll let me drive it a couple times. So hopefully that works out too. It'd be nice to have both cars. It's definitely would be a challenge getting them both there and working on them both. But I think if we, can figure it all out this winter, we'll definitely have two cars there, support the track, have some cars to race, which would be really awesome.
Hey, while we have a second, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. But why don't you go ahead and thank everybody who helped your racing program this year?
Absolutely. Obviously, Chris Sears, I thank him again for putting up that money at the end of the race or at the end of the year this year. My dad, of course, he does a lot for me, spends a lot of time with me, working on the car. Steve Mitchell's been a huge help. He actually towed the Pure Stock to the track this past week. So, he kind of took that off of our shoulders, which was nice. He had the enclosed trailer, so it was a little warmer with a heater in there than it was in an open trailer. His son Steven too, he helped out a lot this weekend. Johnny Phelan, him and Steve both pretty much got my car ready after hot laps after it broke. So thank you to them a whole lot, because I was too busy, flustered, running around trying to figure out I needed a part, and then I was looking at the track trying to prepare for the Pro Stock. So they really did a lot for me. Jason Yager, he's there frequently to help us out anytime we need it. Jim Crossan, that's where we keep our car, his garage. So thanks to him for helping out all throughout the season. My girlfriend, Ashton, I'd like to thank her for putting up with me all the time that we spend in the garage at the races. She really, sacrifices a lot for me to do what I get to do. John Kane for lending me a spare part. The Snyders, really, Chris, Tyler, Christian, Chris's mom, Deb, she does all our stickers. So I'd like to thank her too. Ferris Carpet, my sponsors, Ellison Ferris Surface Solutions, Chelsea Ferris LPC, Joe's Body Shop and Towing, SS Chassis, my family. I'd like to thank them too. They always support me. My fans, anyone who supports me, that's really awesome. Thank you guys for that. And Latrobe Speedway, they put on a great season, and they put on a good fall fest. So really happy that we got a good place to go.
Man, was that track racy or what?
Oh yeah, it was slick for sure, but it was nice being in two cars and getting to see the way the track was progressing. So I knew for the Pure Stocks kind of what we needed to do after being in the Pro Stock, knowing that the track was going to be a little bit more slick, make our adjustments, and I think we hit it, right on for the Pure Stocks. So it's definitely a good track to race on this weekend.
Well, race fans, that is our 2022 Fall Fest champion for the Pure Stocks, the sophomore sensation, Mr. Corey Ferris. Thanks, Corey.
Thanks, Howie.
Race fans, next go for a ride on Ride Along with Howie is our two-time Fall Fest champion for the super late models, a driver who has a 66.666% winning percentage at Latrobe Speedway. He's your 2021 Lernerville Super Late Model Track Champion, 2022 Port Royal Super Late Model Champion, and a two-time Fall Fest champion at Latrobe, the pilot of Randitch Towing, car number 48, Mr. Colton Flinner. Colton, thanks for going for a ride.
Hey, thank you for having me on.
Colton, I've been honored and blessed that I can honestly say I've seen pretty much your whole racing career from when you were about 13. Your dad got the bright idea, well, let's go create late model racing. And I remember on the back of the card, it said living a dream or dream big. What was your spoiler saying? Do you remember?
I said dreaming big.
Dreaming big. And you came on out there, and a lot of people were really questioning not your ability, but your parents for putting you into a car at such a young age. But then I remember it took me a little bit of time, but on your 15th birthday, the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania Motor Speedway, you picked up a career first win in that crate late model and been winning ever since. And I mean, just to watch your career go from really your dad teaching you in the pits how to drive a race car to letting you out on the track to getting those top tens, those top fives, winning, and then you made the big move. You stayed in the crates for about 7 years,
I think it was 7 years.
give or take, around 7 years, we'll say. And you won some tour races, and you were successful at other tracks, and then you did what, 1 year in super late model local?
Yeah, 1 year, and then we went out on the road to do the Lucas deal.
What was that like? You were probably about what, 19 or 20?
I think I was 20 years when I did that.
Okay, so like I said, 19, 20 years old. I'm sorry, I was off 6 months, but 20 years old, you got a dually and a 40-some foot trailer, and you and your dad are crisscrossing the United States running the premier dirt late model series, only your second year in a super late model. What was that like, Colton?
It was definitely a dream come true. I've always wanted to do it, and I would love to do it again if the opportunity came. It's just we still have friends we talk to that when I did that, like Dennis Erb and just a bunch of the guys, Jonathan Davenport, Jason Durham, Randy Weaver. They all help me still to this day, and it's a really cool deal that we got to run that, and to win the Rookie of the Year was awesome also.
Not that, and you said yourself you don't regret doing it at that point, or doing it, but maybe at that point, do you wish maybe you would have waited a little bit longer, or do you think that just took your driving, you as a driver to the next level, going all those tracks, racing against the best drivers nationally, and then you came back and started winning races around here?
It goes both ways. I wish I would have waited a couple years to have better equipment than what I had. But also I love doing it because you go to different racetracks and become a better race car driver faster.
I remember you guys used the motor you got off me, actually, part of that Lucas year.
Yep.
And I remember your dad, he's like, is this thing any good? I said, it's consistent. It's not the fastest. It's not the slowest. It's a good, consistent motor. And your dad told me at the end of the year, you probably used it a good portion of the year just to get through while the big motor might have been, getting refreshing or whatever.
Yes.
But what's it like? A limited crew, crisscrossing the United States in a dually. I mean, now you got the toter, but I mean, and it was a very nice dually. I'm not trying to, take away, but you're up against these guys who got $500,000 haulers, and you're showing up in a $100,000 dually and trailer.
That was the difficult part because we'd either have to get a hotel or we'd just sleep in the truck some nights, which was uncomfortable. But now having the toter and the trailer to haul 2 cars, that definitely makes life easier and cheaper because we don't have to rent a hotel now and all that stuff. But it wasn't bad doing it with the dually and just single car trailer. It actually sometimes made it easier.
That was a 2-car trailer. I thought you could get both in because it was so long.
Yeah, you could, but it was a pain. So most of the times we just took 1 car unless we were going extremely far away.
What was your highlight of the year? I mean, obviously being crowned Rookie of the Year, but I mean, is there one race that maybe things were really clicking very, very good for you and your dad?
Yeah, we did good at the Show Me that year, and then we went to Lawrenceburg, finished sixth there. There's a couple good runs we had. There was a lot of times that we just didn't do very good, but it was more just a learning experience for me. But other than that, yeah, there was some good highlights in that year for us.
And one thing that we got to remember when you were doing that, that was with Colton Flinter Racing, which was the number 75 car. And I guess it was about what, 5 years ago, 4 years ago? 4 years ago, around the 4th of July, you got a phone call that basically changed your career. You got named the pilot of the Johns Towing, Randage Towing car number 48. And you replaced a legend in your uncle. And you've kept that tradition going.
Yeah, I can't John Johnson enough for giving me the opportunity he's given me. He's changed my racing career tremendously, giving me really, really good equipment and keeping up with all the technology we need to continue to run at a high level and be successful.
And I still remember when you were doing the super local, and I don't remember if it was after the World of Outlaw, after the Lucas deal or not, but you got a phone call from Bobby Bench. You were driving his crate car trying to help their team as they were exploring different chassis and that. And that just says a lot because Colton, even today, you're not even 30. And then you're getting called to come in and help a team sort out their chassis. That just says a lot about you and your dad, how good you guys really are.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we drove for Bob. I drove for him before we did Lucas and then after we did Lucas. And we're just really close with Bob Bentz and his family. And to this day, we talk to him a lot, and he comes and watches me race, and I'll go hang out with them sometimes. I mean, Bob's a tremendously great guy.
And I remember one night down at Pittsburgh, you teamed up with a legendary team, the Auction Barn team, and you took their car and finished second with it one night. First time I think you might have even been in it. So,
yeah, I think it was my second or first time in it, and then the one night they had double features, and that's actually when I think I finished second.
Okay. So what's it like being one of the top young talents in dirt late model racing?
It's neat. I mean, you got to keep your head level and just keep rolling with the punches. There's always room for improvement, and I just really enjoy racing. I don't let anything get to my head. I just want to continue to having success in racing and doing well.
When I introduced you by your 2 track championships, but you also have 2 crate championships down at Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania Motor Speedway. So we take all of your track championships, which is 4 total, 3 of them on big tracks and 1 on a little track. As a driver, what does Colton Flinter prefer? The big track or little track?
Big tracks. That's what you asked me. I mean, the small tracks are fun, but the big tracks, it's just where I've grown up at racing Pittsburgh all my life. So I really know how to get around a big track if you ask me.
How would you rate Latrobe compared to like a Port Royal, where you won the Super Late Model Championship and you had a bunch of wins there this year and you won a track championship?
They're both really great racetracks. I really enjoy going to Latrobe. I wish I'd get a better car count with the late models, but I think a lot of it just has to do with the way racing is this year and the economy and everything else. But Latrobe is a really, really nice facility, and the racetrack is extremely nice.
It seemed very racy, and we'll go now. Let's talk about Saturday's race. John Lee had fast time and jumped out to lead. And one thing that drivers say, now I've never raced a car, so I can't tell you from my experience, but a lot of drivers say Latrobe is a unique facility. It's a big track that you race like a short track.
Kind of agree there.
And it seemed like you were able to get aggressive on John Lee when he got caught up in some lap traffic. You got out to the lead, and that clean air it just made your car take off.
Yeah, that car ran at Port all year long, and that car just takes a while for it to get going. I mean, even all the wins I've had at Port, I'd only take the lead with like 10 to go and put it on them. But that car is just, something about that car. It's a long run car. It's not a short run car by no means. And just, it's a crazy good car. And once you get to the lead, and get some clean air, it's like driving a Cadillac. I mean, it's super smooth and really fast.
And this year, you guys took on another car. Basically, you had a teammate, Johnny Garvin, who went to Port a couple times, but he ran Lernerville, and you guys won 2 track championships, 2 drivers, 2 different cars, and 2 different style of tracks. One on the short track, one on the big track. And what was it? About 3 years ago, you guys made the switch over to Longhorn.
Yeah, it was 3. Yeah.
What made you decide to go that way when you had a lot of success with Rockets? You also won in a Rayburn, Kryptonite, obviously the Rocket, and the Longhorn. What made you guys decide to go with the Longhorn package?
We got hooked up with Jason Durham, which is Jonathan Davenport's crew chief, and we got one of Jonathan's Longhorn cars, and I really, really like the Longhorn cars, the way they steer, the way they drive. I'm just really comfortable in them. Nothing away from Rocket or Kryptonite. They're both extremely good chassis also, but it's just driver preference, and I feel more comfortable in a Longhorn car than I felt in the Rocket or the Kryptonite.
Colton, what does the future hold? I mean, you race not for a living, but man, going to Port Royal and coming back, even with the toter, you basically kill a Saturday and a Sunday.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, going to Port, it's like a all-day affair Saturday. We usually leave Friday at midnight because my dad likes to drive at night, and then we're there all day Saturday, and he tries to drive home most of the night on Saturday to get us home Sunday morning bright and early. Next year we'll probably do it again at Port. I really, really like that facility, and they pay us tremendously good, and they're talking about even paying us better next year. So we might do that, or we might just run a schedule where I want to race wherever I want to race that weekend.
What about doing a series like a regional series? I know ULMS. There's some other ones. I'm not trying to pinpoint, but what about doing something like that, or you just really like going out to Port that much?
I really like going to Port that much. I'm not saying I wouldn't run a regional series, but if I would do a series, I'd rather do like World of Outlaws or Lucas and really challenge myself.
You guys ever thought about getting rid of the toter just because you mentioned the expense, and those things are expensive going down the road?
Yeah, we've talked about it numerous times this year, and because we're having a lot of aggravation with the trailer, it keeps blowing tires, and the axle. There's an axle that broke this year. That we're waiting. We have to wait almost 8 weeks to get an axle, and everything's just expensive on that thing. But it makes life, when it's working well, it makes life so much easier. So we'll probably end up keeping it.
Hey, Colton, who are the people that make your racing possible?
I couldn't do it without John Johnson and my dad. Them two put their heart and soul into me, and they give me everything I need. Randick Towing, All American Framers, AW Beatty Career Center, Jake Brake Customs, Penske Racing Shocks, Jason Durham, Cornet Racing Engines, 1-800 Get Phil, River Salvage. Just everybody that supports me and continues to push me to be a better person and a race car driver.
You mentioned your sponsors, and I want to say Beatty, Randich, and All American Framers. They've been with you since you started in the cars.
Yeah, they've been with me since day one, and I can't thank them all enough for sticking with me, especially my school I went to. I mean, I've graduated now probably 10 years ago, and they still help me to this day.
We appreciate you coming to Latrobe, and I'll tell you what about the track that Dennis Bates and the crew gave you to race on? Side-by-side racing. I mean, what more can you ask for?
The track was really good on Saturday. It was smooth, and you could race pretty much all over the place too. I mean, the last year we went was more kind of a top dominant racetrack, and this year you could literally race from the Uke tires to the top of the racetrack and pass people. It was a lot of fun. He did a great job this past weekend.
Colton, we appreciate you coming out, and you forgot your little crew chief.
Oh yeah, I can't thank her for help everything she does. She makes sure I'm up on it every weekend. My beautiful daughter Letty.
Yeah, she made the statement, Daddy, I like to go to Victory Lane, didn't she?
Yeah, she loves going to Victory Lane.
And 8 wins this year for you, 9 wins as a team with Johnny Garvin, and 2 championships. It was a great year for the John Johnson team.
Yeah, it was a tremendously good year. I met John's goal. He wanted me to win 8 races this year, so thankfully Latrobe helped me win the 8th one. And there's still some racing left to win. The races we have left to win, one would be tremendous for me. I mean, we're going to the Dirt Track World Championship this week. We have Bedford next week, and then the Dirt Track at Charlotte. So the races we have left are going to be challenging to win, but you never know. Sometimes a squirrel finds a nut.
Hey, Colton, real fast, do you think you'll get back into a crate car, or that's time over and done with?
We've honestly considered getting one of my cars, turning it into a crate car, because we've missed a lot of good paying crate races this year, like the Firecracker, the Pittsburgher that rained out, but they raced the Friday portion and made it to 10,000 to win race. There's a lot of
the Rick Frazee 5,000 to win.
Rick Frazee race. I was trying my hardest to find a crate motor for that race, but just couldn't find one.
Well, Colton, I do appreciate you taking time and going for a ride. And I wish you luck the rest of the year and next year, too.
Thank you.
That's Colton Flinner, pilot of the All-American Framer, car number 48, our 2-time Fall Fest champion. Thanks, Colton.
Thank you.
Race fans, that's going to conclude another Ride Along with Howie. And while I have a chance, I'd like to go ahead and thank all of our sponsors, which include Joe's Body Shop and Towing, SMB Promotion, Specialty Metals, K2 Engineering, Rock Auto, Seal Tight, Stone & Company, DJS Swag, Vinyl Destination. And if you're looking for a job, don't forget General Cartwright is hiring. Benefits start day number 1. For more information, be sure to visit their website and Latrobe Glass and Mirror. Also, coming up on October 29th, we'll be releasing more details, but Latrobe Speedway is going to be hosting a flea market. Very reasonably priced to set up. Again, more information will be coming, but mark it down October 29th, flea market, Latrobe Speedway. I would say see you this week at the races, but we're done. We'll see you October 29th at the flea market. Thanks, guys.